Hi guys, this is Mrs. Hurley. I am at a meeting today, so I wanted to make sure you knew what to do when you were in class. So you are going to be pulling up your graphic organizer from Google Classroom or your Drive, and you're going to be finishing all the questions. So I know last week some of us finished 1 through 6, and we just started looking at questions 7, 8, and 9. So I'm going to show you what those are. These questions are more about what you would want the superhero to have and what kind of powers you would want them to have. Make sure it really goes with what your person stood for. So if you had Martin Luther King Jr. and he is fighting for civil rights, make sure that the things that you're thinking of for props or items or the powers that he has would go along with something that would actually help get civil rights for all people. Okay, so question 7 is about what props or items you would want. Or objects to represent them. Try and make those positive as much as possible. So we don't want to see weapons or anything that's about harm. We want to keep everything positive. 8 is about what superpowers they would have. Again, basing it off what would make sense for your person. And 9, try and come up with 1 or 2 interesting names for your person so we can try and include that on your cover later. Okay. Once you have finished that, you really should have finished everything in the graphic organizer. And so you are going to show whoever's there that you have finished your graphic organizer, and then it is time to get to the good stuff, the drawing. I want to show you an example from another school that we have. All right, so this is something similar to what we're going to end up doing. What we're going to be doing is doing our pictures on paper and then uploading them into Google Drawing and adding our titles, our captions, anything we need to add. So when we work on our drawings, we're not going to put any words down because all of that's going to come later. This is an example of Abraham Lincoln, okay, and he had a magical pen, so he could just sign that all slaves were free, it looks like, and you can see he has some other things there. So that is what we're going to be trying to do. So now you need to start thinking about what is it that you want to do for your cover, okay, once you've thought about everything else in your graphic organizer. I have a whole bunch of drawing books that I have checked out in our library for us. So here's one of probably the best one right here, Creating the Cover for Your Graphic Novel. Okay, I think everyone should at least take a look at this. And because I know there's so many of us, I have made just a few handouts that have the same thing like in the first 7 pages so that you have a chance to see what it says. It has a lot of really good advice in here about coloring and how to shade things in and how to even make the shapes to end up with a person. So we're going to do some research today, but with drawing if you've finished everything else. You may want to look at, I have a few drawing books that have to do with how to draw faces. That might be something that's important to you if you're particularly interested in making a very detailed face on your person. All of this today is just to brainstorm and get ideas, kind of drafting only. This is not going to be anything that ends up being our final version. So just feel free to kind of play around with it as long as you're working on the task at hand. So do some research in these drawing books to see, try and test some ideas out on your own, see what works, see what doesn't work. I do have a few templates you can use to make circles, or I have one called a French curve template, which apparently lots of people use when they make graphic novels. You do have to share these resources. I only have a few of these, but use them today if we finished everything else, just to play around with what we want our stuff to look like. So that's what you're going to do today. Finish your graphic organizer, make sure it's entirely done, and then start looking through the drawing books, getting some ideas, testing some things out, and then once we've all kind of had a chance to play around with it and think about it, then when we come back in later weeks, we will really get down to making a pretty serious picture for our graphic novel. So enjoy today. I hope you guys learn a lot, both about your person and about how to draw these covers, and I will see you guys next week.